Okay. Hi, everybody. Welcome to episode 3 of the Common Fiber podcast. I am your host, Sarah Stevens. I'm coming to you from Spokane, Washington. For those of you who don't know, it is on the east side of Washington State. It's not over by Seattle. Not that that really matters, but some people do wonder. Okay. It's been a week. I have gotten quite a bit of stuff done this week. I feel really excited about it. So today I'm going to talk to you about 2 finished objects that I got done and two new knitting projects that I started and a crochet project that I started. And so I guess let's just jump on in. Today is Sunday. It is about 11 o'clock in the morning. I am having a late start, which is kind of nice. Only one of my 3 children are home right now, so this is the perfect time until the dog starts barking. But I did figure out how to edit that a little bit last week. So I can go ahead and cut that out. I have a light up here and it turns off after every minute. So I might be reaching up there. It's super overcast today. It looked like it rained all night. And so it's not very sunny out. So I'm hoping the lighting is okay. I'm drinking my coffee this morning. It's just drip coffee. Actually, it's my favorite drip coffee though. I get my whole coffee beans for both of our espresso machine and our coffee pot from Indaba Coffee here in Spokane. It's a local roaster, and the owner, Bobby, we've known forever. And so if you are local to the area, you should go check out one of his coffee shops and pick yourself up a bag. If you're not, then he does offer delivery service, which we have not signed up for, but we've thought about it. We go through about a bag of espresso beans a week between all of us. You know, there are 3 avid coffee drinkers in this house. So it would be worth it. Would be worth our time. So anyways. Okay. I guess let's jump right in. I am not wearing a new sweater today. But I did want to show that I did finish my Guthrie. So here it is in all of its glory. I love this sweater. I almost wore it today. However, I did not block it very well on the neck, and I need to reblock it again because where in the back, where the color work starts and where there isn't any color work, it pooches. So I just lightly blocked it when I did, and I need to aggressively block it right there. So, yep, I used Malabrigo Rios for everything. I don't remember the colorway names, but I love this sweater. In fact, so much so that if I can get that top part blocked, I might wear this to work tomorrow with a skirt. We'll see. But this is a Caitlin Hunter pattern. It is called Guthrie. I believe that she released this a few years ago, maybe 5. And I think that's I was probably knitting on this for 3 or 4 years, truthfully. I think this summer, if I would have still been knitting on it, it would have been 4 years. So I'm so glad to have this off the needles. I don't know what else to say about it. I don't remember what size needle I used. I did make the sleeves a little shorter. So, yeah, super excited about that. So that is my first FO of the week. The next finished thing that I did was I did finish those pink socks. Have the camera a little closer. It's a different angle so you can kind of see a little bit better. But this was my pink tulips colorway. So obviously I'm not dyeing yarn anymore, so it's no longer available, but I'm working through my stash. That's kind of my goal this year, is to get through a majority of my stash yarns, both full skein and scrappy skeins. I just have so much, and I would like to work through it. It's kind of a ridiculous amount. I guess I should tell you that I did knit these cuff down, and I used a 2.0 millimeter needle. That is a US size 0. I prefer the Knitter's Pride Carbons DPNs. And so I knit this cuff down and 20 rows or rounds for the cuff, 60 for the leg, 50 for the foot, and then the toe and heel as normal. So I'm really pleased with these. These will get tucked away. This would be technically sock number, I think, 3. I did my gray socks. I did Willy Wonka, but I think I did those right before the gray socks. I don't know. I guess I have to go look back. I think this is technically sock pair number 3 for 2021. I guess I should keep better notes. I did say that I was going to keep better notes on Ravelry, and I have not done that yet. So I do think I need to get on the ball and get that done for you guys, at least. So I finished those early on. They only took me a few days. I want to say by like Wednesday I had these guys done. I did have my sweater done by Monday, and then it blocked, and then I finally wove in the ends on Friday. So I felt pretty productive with those guys. So I, of course, cast on to a new pair of socks, and this was a pair that Caitlin had requested, and it is a 50-gram skein. So, but it is an old Graceland wool colorway. It is Charlie, named after one of our beloved cats that this summer she went outside, and another cat chased her away, and she never made her way back home. So we lost Charlie. I'm hoping, because we had a few times seen her in the neighborhood while we were driving, I'm hoping there is just some amazing family that took her in and was feeding her, and yeah. So that was really sad. That was unfortunate. That was my son's cat. And so anyways, so this colorway is named after her, and I did get quite a bit done. I am knitting this smaller because it is for Caitlin, and it is using a 50-gram skein. So I did 15 rounds for the cuff, 50 for the leg. I just finished the heel, and I'm going to go ahead and work on 50 for the foot, and then I'll just do the toe as normal. And I have quite a bit of yarn left, so I'm pretty confident that I will get this entire pair of socks done with this 150-gram skein. And the great news is if that is indeed the case, then those 4 50-gram skeins definitely will be enough for a pair of socks. Cross your fingers. That's what I'm hoping. And if not, I do have another 50-gram skein of this that I can break into, which is fine. It's actually already caked, but I'd prefer not to. I'd prefer to get 2 pair of socks. Anyways, but that's my own thing. So those were kind of the main things that I had worked on, except I did kind of fall down a little bit of a rabbit hole this last week. I got my next yarn shipment in. I had ordered 2 separate orders. As you guys might remember, last week I had gotten in my Hue Loco order, and that was specifically for socks. I had also placed a second order and that was from the Woolly Thistle, and that was 2 sweater quantities. But I'm so excited about them. And one of the sweaters I had told you that I would cast onto as soon as my Guthrie was done was the Felix Pullover by Amy Christoffers, and I couldn't wait. I literally cast that sucker on like Tuesday and made a substantial amount of progress in one day. In fact, I had to put it down. I had to put it in timeout so I could finish the other things that I wanted to finish. Those pink socks, for instance, and making sure that I wove in the ends of my Guthrie. So it's scrunched up on the needles, but I did get almost all the way through my yoke of this sweater. You'll see this is pretty rustic wool. I am using Lopi. Here we go. I am using Lopi. This is a 100% Icelandic wool, and it's a 50-gram ball, and I bought 10 of these guys. I am knitting the biggest size. The pattern, I'm not giving anything away, but the pattern calls to use a size 10 needle for the body of it. And I don't have a size 10, and that gauge was pretty crazy to think about for me, because I tested out a swatch on a size 9 and it was way too loose. I did not like the gauge. So I went down to an 8, and it's still a very loose gauge. You can see the detail that goes where the raglan, like along the yoke. I'm so excited about this sweater. So I went down to a size 8. I am getting, the pattern calls for like 4 stitches an inch. I'm getting 3.5 stitches an inch. So after I did the math, I did have to increase for the stitch count to knit the largest size to accommodate for my smaller wool and my smaller needles. But I'm okay with that, and I'm happy about it. Actually, I did I prepared for the possibility of that happening, which is why I brought 10 skeins of yarn. So I'm good with it. Anyways, I have this much left of my second ball of yarn. It's beautiful. I have 3 more increases, or 3 more repeats to do before I can split for the sleeves, and I plan to get that done today. So that makes me really, really happy. No, I don't plan to have this sweater done for you guys next week or by next week, but I do plan to at least have some of the body of the sweater done by next week, which would make me so, so happy. It is really rustic wool, so it is kind of scratchy. I don't plan to wear it without a long sleeve t-shirt underneath of it. I do plan to wear this just with a pair of jeans. That's kind of what I was envisioning, was just a really nice basic sweater that I can pop on over a long sleeve tee, and it looks like I kind of put myself together for the day, even though I really didn't. So, okay. Last sweater quantity I wanted to show you before I get into my crochet project is I bought us 7 skeins of, gosh, this is gonna drive me nuts. I gotta remedy that. That's gonna drive me crazy. 7 skeins of this, and it is Blacker Yarns. It is a worsted spun yarn, Lioness. It's wool and linen blend. It's a DK. It's a 50-gram ball. I got 7 of them. 119 yards per ball. So, a little over 800 yards of DK yarn to work with. I had envisioned this to be a cardigan. Just a really nice basic cardigan. And the Felix cardigan is not the right weight of yarn, but that is exactly what is in my head. So there is a huge possibility that right after knitting the Felix pullover, I will cast onto the Felix cardigan with this. It's this beautiful mauve color too. I don't know. Yeah, that's pretty dang accurate. I love it. I also kind of see a running theme with my sweater choices at the moment. Purple seems to always win out. But that's okay. That's just fine. I need to, and I obviously wear purple, but I need to definitely get better at wearing my purple knitted sweaters. I think I have 4 now. 5 maybe. So, anywho, I feel like I've just been talking so fast and so fast and so fast because last week was such a disaster when it came to trying to podcast. I was trying so hard to get as much in as I possibly could before there was another interruption. I feel like I'm doing that again today. So I'm going to slow down a bit. I'm going to go back. I didn't do my second slipper. I'm going to get that done today. I have the yarn. I got so distracted by all of the other things that I cast onto that I didn't get my second slipper done. So before I even work on this guy, I really just need to get that second slipper done. So it's done and out of the way. I will feel really good about that. Yeah, maybe that'll just be my plan. Yesterday, I spent most of my day going through, I had 2 big baskets filled with projects and wound yarn already, and then a giant bagoo bag. Giant, like the duffel size tote. So a lot of stuff, and it was just kind of placed around my living room, and I in theory thought, well, if I'm there or want to work on something, then I can just grab it. Well, I hadn't actually cleaned any of that stuff out in a really long time, so I dumped everything out. I ended up filling with just the yarn that was in those 3 things, already caked yarn, like wound yarn, half-used skeins of yarn, an entire under the bed tote, and that was just from up here. And I emptied out every single knitting bag, project bag that I found. I found some of my needles, not all of them, but I did find some of them, and some of my favorite notions, which I hadn't found in a really long time. And that kind of got me on this new kick. I was looking at that tote and I thought, well, I'm never going to knit that many slippers. So I definitely need to have another like scrappy project. So last night, while Caitlin and I were watching, actually we were watching What Happened to Monday. You know, I wouldn't recommend that movie. It's on Netflix. It's a Netflix original one. It was entertaining. I would never watch it again. We kind of had it pegged from the beginning, and then at the end we were like, yeah, okay. There were a couple surprises, but for the most part, we knew what was going to happen, and I don't know, we both wanted it to be way more exciting than it ended up being. But I cast onto, first of all, no judging. I don't crochet, guys, like at all. Like the most crochet I do is a granny square or granny stripe, and this is a new to me puff stitch. It's really just a bobble. It's just a bobble, but with a crochet hook. Anywho, it's a hexagon, and I'm using some of my scraps. Obviously, I'm not going to use all of them, but here we are. I got this much done. I'm pretty excited about it. This was my Hermione Granger colorway. I do have another like 1 round of some mystery tiny skein. And then this is Fool's Gold from Hedgehog Fibers. While I love that colorway, crocheting with that sock yarn is terrible. And I think it could just be because I'm a newbie. I was not good at it. My hook was getting caught all of the time. I was so happy when that tiny little ball ran out. Like, thank goodness that is done. So I went ahead and, it's another one of my colorways, but I don't remember the name of it. I cast onto, or I attached this. I'm using the magic knot method. These little baubles hide those magic knots so well. And I just plan to knit this sucker until I feel like it's big enough. And then I may or may not start another one in a different shape. Who knows? Might be the same shape. I might choose to just do another one. But I'm finding that crocheting my scraps is way easier, way more productive than knitting my scraps. Somebody had mentioned, my friend Lydia had mentioned like doing a Stephen West scrappy sweatshirt, and that's still not off like the docket. I might do it. But for now, this is super fun and relaxing. It's mindless. I just have to do the same thing over and over and over again until I come to the corner, and then I just do one little thing different, and it works out great. So I came up with a game plan, because obviously I need game plans, right? Or I don't get things done. Even with a game plan, I get sidetracked. But I thought, okay, as soon as I'm done with this ball of yarn, my goal is going to be when I cast onto a new sock each week, whatever leftover, I'm going to immediately put it into this stinking blanket. And if there are really no leftovers, then that's fine. I'll crochet it in at whatever I can, and then I'm going to grab one from the container and crochet it in. That way, I am not creating new scraps. Does that make sense? I'm going to try my best, at least for fingering weight, to not create new scraps. And I'm going to give myself the freedom to, if I hate it, if I hate that yarn, right? Because I know that there's going to be some that I come across that I purchased years and years ago, or maybe I won as a prize, or what have you, and they're not my favorite anymore. I'm giving myself the freedom to knit it and then not save that little leftover bit. I'm going to just allow myself to throw it away. And here's why I say that, because if I really hated knitting with it, it's not worth my time anymore to add it to another project. And if I just keep it, I'm going to pick over it every single time. I'm not going to use it. I don't knit stuffies. At one time I was like, oh, I'll just keep it and use it as stuffing in one of those little cute stuffed animals that I don't knit. So why am I keeping it? And then I thought, oh, it's okay. I'll just hold it double with something and then I'll use it up. And then I once again pick over it and I never choose it. So no, giving myself that freedom this year to say, you know what? I didn't like working with it once. I'm not going to like working with it again, and I'm just going to get rid of it. And if it's more than just a little bit, sure, I'll probably, ask some of my friends, would you use this? Do you want this? And if they say no, then absolutely just toss it. Life is too short at this point to be working with yarn that I hate when I have other choices. I don't know. I don't know how else to say it. And we're all going to have that yarn. Like, we all have some of those skeins that are tucked away in the deep, deep back of our stash. If you have a stash, some of you are really, really good about using the yarn that you buy and not overindulging from time to time or year to year. I was never that person. I definitely have a stash, and it is most definitely because retail therapy, part of it, sometimes it just feels so good to buy these beautiful skeins of yarn, and even if you have no project in mind. And I was really good at that, or really bad at that, I don't know, however you want to look at it. Not happening this year. This year, whatever yarn comes in my house, I have a plan for it, and I'm going to use it in its entirety. That's it. I did find like a bunch of worsted weight scraps and DK weight scraps. So part of me wants to make one of these puff blankets with those too, but I don't know what size hook to use. I don't even know what size hook this is. I tried looking at it, and it says it's a 00/3.5 millimeter hook. I don't know what that means. And most crochet hooks have like A, B, C, D, E, F, sizing. It's like an alphabet sizing. So whatever that is, you can tell me what that is. That's what I'm using to create these beautiful, tiny little puff stitches, these baubles. And it was so relaxing last night to do this. So relaxing. So this is definitely going to be one of those ones that I do a bunch of. It uses a lot of yarn, because you're making a bauble each time. So it uses more than the granny stripe blanket does, or the granny square blanket does. So it's great if you want to use up scraps. I watched a show, you guys. That's pretty much all my knitting content. So if you want to check out at this point, then I completely understand. I do need to talk about some like knit along stuff in a little bit, but I have to tell you about this show I started watching this week. It's called Bridgerton. It's on Netflix. We don't have cable, so we just have like Netflix and Disney Plus and stuff like that. But it is a time period time, a period drama, time period drama. Anyways, it's like Downton Abbey, but it's not Downton Abbey. So if you have not watched this yet, it is so good, but is not kid appropriate. You find that out really quick in episode 1. I know, because Caitlin and I were up here putting it on, thinking it's going to be a lot like Downton Abbey. And she looks over at me during one scene and she goes, "Well, that escalated pretty quick. I'm going to go downstairs." I was like, yeah, pause. Like, you don't need to watch that. So be fair warned. I think it's a really great series. It does get pretty graphic. It does not leave a whole lot for you to guess at. But it is really good. And I hope they make a season 2. If there's going to be a season 2. I don't even know if that says season 1 on it. It just might be one of those once done things. Who knows? Anyways, really, really good if that's kind of your jam. But just know that your kiddo is probably, maybe, obviously it's up to you. Just watch episode 1 and know that that's probably the best of the bad scenes that happen. And if that is okay with you, letting them see that, then that's obviously up to you. But I'm rambling. Okay, so I need to enter these socks into the Rainbow Chronicles knit along that So Sweet Violet and I think it's Lay Yarns are doing together. I promised you guys last week that I would add links below. I gotta do that still for the last episode, so I'm gonna try and get better at that. But if you guys are knitting socks or whatever and want to participate, I mean, there's still half a month left to knit a pair of pink socks, and it could be whatever pink socks. Like, it just has to be a full sock. It can't be shorties for their knit along. So I'm going to enter these guys in, not because I want to win, but because it's just fun. Sometimes it's just super fun. And of course, I'll add these to the Ravelry thread. I got to get better at taking those dang pictures too. I have my own knit these 12 skeins or 12 socks or whatever you're going to do, and I still haven't even added pictures to that. I need my own personal assistant to like kick me in the butt and say, get this done. But maybe today. Who am I kidding? Like, maybe like I just hope for next week. I think that's a better idea. So, anywho, okay, you guys, I should probably get out of here. I wanted to say thank you so much to everybody for all of your kind words and encouragement. It's been so good. So good. It's so nice to hear. I read every single comment that you guys make. Every single one. So thank you for those. And thank you for sticking around if you stuck around to the end of this one. And if you are enjoying these, go ahead and hit subscribe. I think we're over 100 subscribers now, which is kind of fun. I don't know. I think that's really, really fun. I didn't expect that. So, okay, I'm going to let you go. I will chat again with you guys next week. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your weekend and a wonderful next week. And we will talk again later. Have a good day, you guys.